What a bad week for the activist press. Smollett, Sandman, Lara Logan, the three horsemen of the media apocalypse. They got every reporter pulling out their hair. Well, except for this guy. I think he's already moved on to his back. First, there's Nick suing the Washington Post for $250 million. It's a lot of money. But think about how much money they made off smearing him. The paper makes $100 million off digital ad sales alone. That's a lot of money, $100 million. That's more than I make in a year. How do they make all that money? Conflict, which brings eyeballs, which makes money. So I say, Nick Sandman, get your piece. You earned it. Without you, how would Chris Cuomo afford his daily waxing? At least daily. Now there's Smollett. Like Covington, it began with media-ready conflict, spiraling into a hate tornado directed at the usual suspects, which is you. Remember, Covington was a white brat in a red hat. Smollett also tapped that hat. Sadly, it turns out his white racists were Nigerian bodybuilders. Check out this pair. Their abs have abs. They got more muscles than a mollusk convention. If I had access to those washboards, I'd be doing laundry every night of the week. Smollett paid them $3,500 to pull off this stunt. Yet he makes $60 grand a show. So forget that he's a hoaxer. He's just a cheap. Now, these cases, along with the Brett Kavanaugh smear, they need to be part of a course. Call it journalistic ethics. Something to take instead of intersectional gender studies. And I know who should teach it.
The media everywhere is mostly liberal, not just in the U.S. But in this country, 85% of journalists are registered Democrats. So that's just a fact, right? No one's registering Democrat when they're rarely a Republican. So the facts are on the side of what you just stated. Most journalists are left or liberal or Democrat.
Talk about speaking truth to power, which is why no one covered it but us. Because when the news embarrasses the news industry, it disappears faster than Taylor Swift's boyfriends. Because once the emperor's new clothes are exposed, don't expect the emperor to tell you about it. The emperor's busy blaming Fox for eating people's lunches.
Sean Hannity's going to eat Jussie Smollett's lunch every single second. Tucker Carlson is going to eat Jussie Smollett's lunch every single second.
President of the United States.
The President of the United States is going to eat his lunch.
I'm getting hungry. So that's the concern. We're going to dine on Smollett? No, Lemon, we're dining on you. You believed him because you already believed all Trump supporters were racist. Smollett served a purpose for you, and you served a purpose for him. Smollett saw the media for what it was, suckers, and I kind of admire it. But if your only lesson is that Smollett was being used by us as fodder while missing the fact that he made you look like a dumbass, then you truly are a lemon. Since 2016, these media fail moments have been piling up, and the same culprits are at the scene of every crime. It's the activist media, journalists driven by an agenda, and the profit maker behind this machine is always conflict.
The idea of racial slurs and maybe even some of the homophobic slurs being used toward him. You can see how serious this crime is right now.
Absolutely despicable.
Smollett in real life is black and gay, which may have been the motivation for a possible hate crime against him in Chicago.
I'm disgusted by people who wear hats that say MAGA.
I don't believe Jussie is making this up.
I don't like that it's being put out there in the media that this is a possible hate crime.
Right.
This is America in 2019.
You wish. Celebs also dove in, placing the blame where it belonged, of course, on Pence.
It feels impossible to not feel this way right now with the president and the vice president, Mike Pence, who, wishes I couldn't be married. Let's just be clear. Connect the dots. This is what happens. If you are in a position of power and you hate people and you want to cause suffering to them, you go through the trouble. You spend your career trying to cause suffering. What do you think is going to happen?
She should know. I tried to sit through her last movie. That's suffering. Anyway, I wonder if Colbert will have her back on to discuss how Pence didn't help create a crime that didn't exist. Meanwhile, we all here held our tongues, even though the story stank like the bathroom after curry night at the rest home. Trump supporters stalking the Chicago streets in sub-zero temperatures at 2 a.m., carrying a noose, running into some nobody actor on a show they don't watch, and somehow recognizing him, then beating him up without taking his wallet, phone, or sandwich. This seemed as possible as me being hired as a babysitter. They didn't even take his sandwich. It was a Subway, and they're delicious. Maybe that's Smollett's next gig, Subway spokesman. It's a step up from Jared. By the way, he paid the Nigerians with a check. I mean, who still writes checks? Maybe your aunt on your birthday. Thanks for the card, Aunt Edna, and the $10. But Smollett was the perfect victim for a media that wanted this so badly to be true. So why are these hoaxes so common? Here's my thinking. All of those folks who went to college in the last decade or so are now employed in the media, and they brought with them the victimhood virus they were infected with on campus. The virus makes you stupid, naive, gullible. Did I say stupid? Yes, I did. Anyway, some people are sad Smollett was a hoax. Not me. I'm always thrilled when a hate crime turns out to be false, which means I'm thrilled a lot. It means that we aren't as racist as the media wants us to be, and we live in a country where hate crimes have to be made up because the demand for hate crimes exceeds the supply. But if you're still sad this was a hoax, it's only because it exposes how your activist bias sets you up as a willing stooge. The media owns this story. It's like they took a course on it.
Attention news professionals. Do the traditions of objective reporting bore you? Are you hungry for the profits that come with agenda-driven headlines? Then send your journalist to the Blame, Insinuate, Accuse seminar.
Now, I'm going to show you some headlines, and you're going to tell me how you would rewrite them for maximum profit. Okay? Here's the first one. Snowstorm expected to blanket Northeast.
Whites ski, the rest freeze as snowstorm reveals weather inequality.
Nice. All right, here's another one. Midwest man wins Mega Millions jackpot.
Oh, man wins lottery. No surprise to the 3.2 billion women didn't win the lottery.
Snappy. I love it. Sally, you're a natural. All right, how about this one? World War II vet celebrates 95th birthday.
Elderly, white, lifelong Republican voter turns 95 thanks to Russian collusion.
Nailed it. All right, next one. Church youth group holds bake sale for flood victims.
Oh, extremists use religion to poison victims with heart-clogging toxins.
Yes. Okay, multi-car accident on Toronto freeway.
Multi-car accident on Toronto freeway only in Trump's America.
House fire in Australia injures 7.
House fire in Australia injures 7, only in Trump's America.
Volcano erupts in Brazil, many injured.
Volcano erupts in Brazil, many injured, only in Trump's America?
Yes! You all passed with flying colors. I am so proud of you. Now get out there and do some journalism.
It's the Blame, Insinuate, Accuse seminar. Locations everywhere. Call today.
Let's welcome tonight's guests. If your symptoms are chronic, he's got the tonic. Host of the radio show Dr. Drew, Midday Live, Dr. Drew Pinsky. This man really got bin Laden to open up. Former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill. She's only happy when she's feeling crappy. Host of the Tyrus and Tip podcast, Cat Tip. And the last time he blew out birthday candles, they had to call the fire department. Former WWE superstar, massive sidekick, host of On PC, Tyrus. Dr. Drew, you're a doctor, or so you say. I haven't actually seen your diploma. Has America turned into one big church of victimhood? What's going on?
Not only that, we get such credibility from being a victim. People want to be a certain kind of victim so badly. We're actually seeing a little epidemic of these kinds of hoaxes, and they all have the same kind of construct to them.
Yeah.
Which is people want to be a victim of these things because it gives them status.
Right. It's actually, for this guy, it's better to be a victim than being a star of a show. That's insane.
It's strange. However, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this guy.
Yeah.
And he had an album dropping like a day after this whole thing. And it was all about exactly what happened to him in Chicago. And I wonder if there was a sign. Even he, listen to this, even he was shocked at how crazy the media got with his story.
Yes.
I think that might be the case.
All right. Rob, what's your take on this?
I am a straight white kid from Butte, Montana, who could probably be on the cover of Decent Shape magazine. So I have never been the victim of a hate crime. I've never seen it. But for someone to, it's one thing to screw up, which I don't think happened. It's another thing to make it happen. A hoax like this that takes away from actual hate crimes.